common thing nowadays. It's called a PhD dropout to OnlyFans model.
I've dropped out of my PhD. I've cried so much over this decision to quit my PhD, you know, because it's a stressful decision, not that I'm particularly sad about it. I'll get into all of that in a bit later, but moving on to doing OnlyFans and content creation full-time, it's not just a career choice, it feels kind of like a gamble on the direction of my entire life. Some days I wonder if I'm making the right choice. You know, when I open LinkedIn and I see the pages of all of the people who are my age, who already have 3 years into their careers and are climbing the ladder with senior level titles, it stirs something in me. I start to feel a twinge of jealousy, imagining what it would be like in their place. I've spent the last couple of years in grad school, whereas many of my colleagues from undergrad got jobs directly afterwards. So I guess I always have those advanced degrees with me. But I can't say that I don't like the idea of wearing a polished suit and walking into an office where I have people working with me and working on a project, or even the alternative route of becoming a professor and having students work for me, where I have my own lab and I teach my own course, and the thought of sitting with my team to come up with solutions to a certain problem, or even find something new, learn something new, and then applying that knowledge. And writing papers gives a sense of fulfillment, you know? There's some sort of camaraderie in those environments and a structure that I think I'd enjoy. And of course, not to mention the outfits. I mean, come on. I have so many professional outfits that have never...
Well, now you can use the professional outfits. It's not the same way, but you can still use the professional outfits.
Seen the light of day, just because I have nowhere to wear them to.
Like the roleplay content's super popular.
And of course I keep buying them. And part of me wonders if I'll miss the chance to experience that life and that lifestyle. But then I start to think about some of the trade-offs. Those same people whose lifestyles I thought I envied are tied to someone else's vision and someone else's pace. They'll spend their lives working for a company, doing things that they don't necessarily enjoy. And of course, without the recognition that they deserve.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of recognition for doing OnlyFans. I mean, like, people hate OnlyFans. I feel like that's something that's going to happen. Like, it really doesn't. The thing is that if you live your life looking for recognition from other people, you'll never be happy. So it doesn't really matter, like, what the reason is or anything like that. It reduces you. Yeah, exactly. Future marriage, too. Nah, there's plenty of guys that are going to date a girl that does OnlyFans. Because a lot of the girls that do OnlyFans are hot. So that's really what it comes down to. No, if you're an attractive girl, you're going to be able to find a guy that's going to marry you. Like, that's just it. And so, like, and rich. You have a bunch of money. Like, it's just not what happened. I think that's like a cope that people that think that it's unfair that girls like her can make a lot of money doing OnlyFans. It's like a cope that they have where it's like... It's kind of like what I always said about how people, like, the reason why, like, hell and, like, you know, like, oh, sinning exists is so people that do the right thing can cope about people that do the wrong thing and get ahead in life. That, like, oh, well, they're going to go to hell. They're going to be set on fire forever. And so it's like it makes them feel better about the current situation. And so, like, but the reality is that's probably not happening. And the same thing with this. They might marry you, but not what you're looking for in a man. There's plenty of guys that are totally normal that would date a girl that has OnlyFans. Like, it's extremely common. Like, as soon as you step outside the internet, there's a lot of guys that probably don't really give a fuck about it. And it's not going to be everybody, right? It's not going to be every guy. Sure, there are people that have a problem with it too. But to act like you can't get a boyfriend after this, no. If you're an attractive female, you can get a guy to date you. Like, what are we talking about here? It's not even it's not even a question.
Work might win someone else fame and wealth while they stay in the background, expendable. They'll constantly worry about getting laid off, planning their lives around their salaries, budgeting to pay bills, and likely renting a place to live or being tied down to a 30-year mortgage. Vacations are rationed and squeezed into limited paid time off days. My path, on the other hand, is different. It's freer in ways that feel both liberating and, to be honest, a little terrifying. I'm no longer bound by the expectations of an academic institution or the constraints of a corporate office.
I feel like that's also like, but you're still going to be bound by the constraints of a bunch of like horny, like 45-year-old men, right? And so, like, is that really better than a bunch of educated 45-year-old men? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what you want to do. Yeah. I mean, that's the way I see it, right? It depends.
Can comfortably wake up each day and decide what I want to learn, diving into topics that genuinely interest me and not just those deemed important by a funding agency or a company's bottom line. And when it comes to research, I'm no longer bound by the pressure to publish for the sake of tenure or grant applications.
Well, you're still publishing, right? It's just on a different website, but yeah.
Can write papers independently, not because I need to meet a quota, but because I genuinely want to contribute to something. Everything that I create will reflect my own ideas, my own creativity, and my own ambitions. And of course, the best part is that everything I build will be entirely my own. I'm not contributing to someone else's legacy or bottom line. I'm building my own brand and my own future. And all of
There's no future in doing OnlyFans. Any girl that does it, like, that falls off a cliff at 30. It's just biology. It's just the way it is. There's no future in it. Like, you can transition to, like, and there are girls that do it beyond that, right? But, like, it just goes down by, like, probably 20% every single year after that, right? Like, you look at the numbers, you see what it is. I'm just saying this is what the numbers are.
Effort that I put directly benefits me. The rewards are mine to enjoy. For example, although my OnlyFans has been a side project while I pursued my PhD, I've been able to make over $1 million.
That's a
With
lot.
That, I helped my family pay off their mortgage. I bought myself
OnlyFans makes a lot of money for like a handful of girls. Like, no, it's true. They make a lot of money. Now, obviously, like, a lot of girls don't make that much money, and, like, the majority of them don't. It's not like if you are, you know, like, if you're an attractive female, like, you're just instantly going to be a millionaire. But the reality is that a lot of them do make a lot of money. Of course they do. Yeah, sure.
car, and thankfully I avoided taking out any student loans.
She's also insanely attractive. Yeah, and this is the thing, right, is, like, the girls that can do this, it's the same as, like, the probability of you being in the NBA if you're over 7 feet tall is like 10% or something like that, right? Like, I don't know, it's some, like, crazy number. So, like, if you have a genetic extremity, then there are going to be, like, extra opportunities that exist. But that's not really a normal thing that you can expect.
Now I have an investment portfolio, and I'm planning on buying my own house soon.
Yeah, there's tons of girls that do OnlyFans make tons of money, though. It does happen.
All of these achievements are just reminders of the tangible rewards of carving my own path and the freedom that comes with it. But even with this freedom, I am genuinely terrified. I fear not having that external competition, no one to measure myself against, and that it will make...
What do you mean? You can just measure yourself against other girls. Guys do that all the time. Like, yeah, go stream on Twitch. You get measured against every other person on the website. Easy. Problem solved.
Make me complacent. Will I push myself enough without the pressure to outperform others? And of course, there's also the opposite case, that my drive for more will take over. What if I never feel satisfied, always chasing that next milestone, the next goal? Will I lose sight of myself and values in that relentless pursuit? Of course,
I think that's something that, like, if you do that, that's totally on you, right? Like, if you're the kind of person that, like, getting to certain benchmarks makes you happy, if that happens to you more than twice, the reality is that you're probably just looking for something to fill a hole in your own life. You know, like, and it's like, really, there's no benchmark that's really going to make you happy.
I want to enjoy the life I'm building and feel the rewards of my labor, not just keep pushing forward endlessly. Then there's also the fear of settling. What if I get stuck in a place that feels just right, but not great? What if I accept less than I know I'm capable of? And what if, in trying to avoid that, I push myself into something that I'm not entirely comfortable with, forcing myself to fit in a mold that doesn't feel natural? It's overwhelming, but when I look at the bigger picture, I know I'm better off than most people my age, or even those that are far older than I am. That's part of why
making $1 million and she's like in her 20s or 30s. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
I chose to leave academia.
At least like
just for some
right?
reference, a professor in the US earns around $100,000 on average, but the job isn't what most people imagine it to be, or at least it's not what I thought it would be. Instead of spending their time diving into research.
The one thing that sucks about OnlyFans is there's not as many hot girls that are at like Quiznos or CC's Pizza, right? Because like any of the really hot ones, now they're at home doing OnlyFans. So there's like a deflation of the attractive girls that work at like GameStop or Target or something like that, because now they're all doing OnlyFans. Have y'all noticed that? It's ho deflation. It's not hoflation. It's the opposite.
Or contributing to new ideas in the field, most of their energy
I can't be
is
the only
spent
one that's
writing
seen
grant
this, right?
proposals and fighting for funding.
I'm not crazy.
Which, based on my first-hand experience, not the idealized pursuit of knowledge I once dreamed of. So what about working in the industry? Well, the reality is that it's no better. Big tech, for all its allure of innovation and opportunity, is a world where the individual contributions are mostly invisible. The work you pour your heart into is rarely attributed to you. Instead, it pads the pockets of the executives who sit at the top, taking the credit and the glory for your work. Employees are treated as interchangeable, expendable. Every job
I think that, like, really, I mean, that's the same thing. I mean, everybody's expendable, everybody's interchangeable. That's just the way it is. But like, if you're unhappy about the way that, like, you get treated as an employee, I think you're going to be really unhappy about the way that you get treated as an OnlyFans model. That's the way I see it, right? Because, like, a lot of the people treat those girls like meat. That's it. And like, I feel like, you're kind of running yourself into a problem.
With that silent anxiety of layoffs, the knowledge that your position is only as secure as the next quarterly earnings report. It's a precarious, thankless existence, one that I think would stifle my creativity and autonomy. I know that I'm choosing something harder, but in the end, more fulfilling. This journey isn't easy, but it's entirely mine. I wasn't born into a wealthy family or handed opportunities on a silver platter. Every step forward I take,
I think being an attractive female is definitely an opportunity that people are given, and it's not really something that you earn. It's just it's just RNG, right?
Milestone I reach will be the result of my own vision. That thought on its own is intimidating, but
Obviously
it's also incredibly empowering. It's a reminder that I have the freedom to carve out a life of my own on my own terms. A freedom that so many people will never experience because they're just too afraid to break the norms that are set by society.
That's not the reason.
Perhaps
that's not the reason. The reason why other people don't do that is because they're not, people wouldn't pay money to see them naked. It's actually really simple, right? And so, like, if you can't look at why somebody would, like, most people can't do OnlyFans because they're not attractive. Like, that's just the way it is. And so, like, it's really a survivorship bias that you see with this, because a lot of the girls that do it are like in the top 5 to 1% of appearance. Like they are. I mean, I've been to Walmart. You've been to Walmart? I've been to Target. You've been to Target? I've been to Home Depot. Have you been to Home Depot? Let's be honest here. And so anyway, it's extremely rare. Like, cause I like there's always been, well, let me finish it.
Importantly, I need to learn to be kinder to myself. I have the tendency to be overly critical, always pushing myself to do more, to be better. But I'm realizing that this growth doesn't always come from harshness. It also comes from compassion. And I know that if I want to thrive in this new chapter, I need to give myself permission to rest, to make mistakes, and learn from them without the guilt or self-punishment. This life I'm building is like a masterpiece in progress. Every choice I make, every challenge I face, and every success I achieve will be a reflection of me. There's no blueprint, no guarantees, but that's what makes it exciting. It's mine to create, and I know deep down that it'll be worth it.